Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your host, Tom Zappola, and Red Sox Hall of Famer, Rico Petrocelli.
And don't forget the hostess with the mostest, Mr. John Mallory's here too. Oh.
Reason for this.
I know there's two separate opens.
There's three separate openings.
There's
we
three.
have one with me alone when you two clowns don't show up.
Which is
one
okay.
with Rico.
Just keep it here.
Can you look at the way? Can you believe this?
Don't
Chuck,
breathe on me.
Just
Can you believe
just
this?
keep it right here.
Yeah.
And then there's one with you and I.
Right.
There's not one with the three of us because we're twice a year the three of us.
It's like only the second time this has ever happened.
If you don't,
Don't breathe on me.
I'm healthy.
He says
He's
he had
healthy.
COVID. Now he comes in the studio. And
I never
I'm a
said
senior
I had-
Citizen.
I
I'm a
never
senior
said I
citizen,
had
and
COVID.
He's just saying, "Hi, Rico. How are you?"
I said I had a cold. That's what I said.
All right, come
Anyways, welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zappola, Red Sox Hall of Famer, Rico
Chrissy, thank you for the
Petrocelli.
introduction.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
And Boston Personate. John, by the way, I read that article that you wrote in, was it Golf? What?
Oh, he's
I'm running for a
great.
new website now called Barrett Sports Media.
That was a great article.
This was the
He-
one
he's a
about
great writer.
the football.
Yeah.
Good Morning Football.
That
yeah.
was really a good article.
Did you read this week's about
I
Tom
read
Caron
those.
from Nesson?
Did you write that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did write that.
I saw the headlines,
Yeah.
how he's helped so many people.
Yeah, that was part of the interview, but he's a really good guy. It was a good interview. He's awesome. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice job.
BarrettSportsMedia.com.
All right, listen, we have a good show today. Rico, listen, I've been a little under the weather. Rico's making a big deal out of it. I don't have COVID. I did not have COVID. I had a little cold, and he's such a wussy boy, it's ridiculous. But anyway, we have a good show today. We have Chuck and Stacy Whisman from Wheatland Auctions. We have our good friend
Come
Joe
on,
Orlando.
introduce them before the 11 o'clock news. Come on, I got to go to bed.
Joe Orlando, Executive Vice
This
President.
is like the 1970 All-Star Game.
Of Heritage
There's a lot
Auctions.
of All-Stars on the show this
And
week.
our good friend from Love of the Game, Al Crisifulli, is going to be joining us later.
All right.
First hour headlines. You're going to like this one.
Oh, good.
You ready?
Yep.
Chairman, Ontario native Ferguson Jenkins was the first Canadian-born player elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. In a career that spanned nearly 2 decades, Jenkins was a 3-time All-Star, 1971 National Cy Young Award winner, 2-time league's wins winner, 3,200 strikeouts and 300 wins.
What's a league's
300
wins
wins.
winner?
League wins. Guess what, Rico? He's been busy since his retirement, unlike some people I know, with interests as varied as his arsenal on the mound. He now owns the Ferguson Jenkins Cigar Company.
Get out of here.
Wow.
Consists of
that
honest
other
to God.
stuff? What's that other
he
stuff
has
you smoke?
he's got a cigar company. He's got a cigar line.
Vaping?
Marijuana, no, the CD.
No, oh yeah, he used to do
yeah,
that.
yeah, he did a little of that.
CDC, I thought he'd open.
He did a little
He was
of
a
that.
teammate of yours.
Of course.
So, Chrissy, with that being said,
you guys play
his
together?
ex-teammate, his
Like half a
ex-teammate
year,
owns
like
his own
76 was
his own
1
cigar
or 2
company.
years.
1 or 2
We
years.
should bring it
yeah.
in.
I think it was before.
They were teammates at the
Go
end.
ahead.
Yeah.
Now, what else happened?
So he owns a cigar company. It's your buddy. You're a cigar smoker.
What are the names? What's he call him?
The
Fergie's?
Fergie Jenkins Collection is what it's called. I don't know what the name of the cigar company is, but see if you can pull some strings for
So
us.
what does this have to do with cards?
Nothing. It has to do with cigars. Because the three of us smoke cigars.
Yeah, okay.
So pull some strings.
yeah, right. Me?
He was your teammate.
All right. How about right here?
I think he was his teammate for about 4 months.
How long were you teammates with him for?
Very briefly, because your last year was 76, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. And
He
I think he came in right around when Rico was ending his career.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I faced him.
You faced him, probably
Texas.
faced him a lot. Yeah.
With the Rangers.
He
He was
played
a hell
in
of a
Texas,
pitcher.
yeah.
He was a
Texas,
hell of a
yeah.
pitcher. All right, let's bring in Stacy and
His
Chuck.
Red Sox run was not good.
No, I know. He was at the end of his career.
Yeah.
It's 5 wasted minutes. Go ahead.
Can you knock it off?
I'll just.
All right, let's talk to Chuck and Stacy. You guys had a very, very successful national.
Yes.
Tell us about it because your location was unbelievable. And then I want to talk about what's going on right now with Wheatland Auctions. You have an auction that's going to end pretty soon.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. It's awesome to see all three of you at the same time on one show. That's great.
Twice a year we do this.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think it's usually two when we're on, but the National was crazy. I remember when finally getting home and I felt like I needed to sleep for a couple weeks. We did not have any 5 minutes of downtime. It was so crazy. Our booth location, we had took advantage of 3 open sides. Nobody was around us. Had a couple big booth spots, and it was just packed from beginning to end.
Well, Chuck, that whole circumference, people were standing 2 and 3 deep. The whole circumference of the booth.
Yeah, I took a couple pano photos during it, and when I got back, I'm like, wow, there was 80 people during one of the photos there, and it really didn't let up much.
And did you, when we came in to do the little video, you mentioned to me that you had run out of a lot of stock, correct?
Yeah, so most nationals we're constantly buying and trading with customers coming up just to keep things stocked. I think all of our backup inventory was probably gone within 24 or 48 hours, and then it's just constantly working with good customers. There's people who look for us every year, and it's fun. But man, it wore us out this year. It was crazy.
What type of stuff did you sell?
Everything from vintage to new, cards mostly, some autographed items, but mostly cards. One thing that we do a lot of is, who are the hot prospects in football, baseball currently, and bringing a ton of that stuff.
How many Wander Franco cards did you sell?
Oh, jeez.
You knew I was going to throw that in.
14, Tom.
And Joe, I know Joe's watching.
It's not a good number
I'm going
for
to hit
him.
Joe with that same question.
I think one of the things that was really interesting for us too is I did not make it out to Chicago this year. I stayed back here to run the offices and stay here. We kept our retail store open. But I think that the fever of the National was everywhere because we were mobbed here in store, mobbed here in the auction offices. Like, I think everybody watching online, seeing everything happening at the National, for even those people that weren't in Chicago, still wanted to be a part of it.
And by the way, for our viewers and listeners, if you go on the Great American Collectibles Show, over the last 2 weeks, we filmed the show there, and we have both hours. Over the last 2 weeks, you can watch the show on stage. We filmed from the Berkeley stage, and we had a blast. It was a good time, Johnny.
Yeah, no, I want to talk. You have an auction ongoing right now at Wheatland Auctions, Chuck and Stacy. You have some great rookie cards there. I mean, some amazing, all-time athlete rookie cards. Jim Brown, Koufax, Jerry West, Wayne Gretzky. Can you talk about some of the highlights of the auction and what the dates are? It's ending this week, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It is.
Yeah, Sunday night, everything starts to end one at a time. Everything starts at $5. No reserves on stuff. And some of the consigners, we like the stories behind the people. The Uncle Jimmy collection taught us that.
Sure.
One consigner was collecting every Hall of Fame football rookie card and consigned those cards. So,
wow.
If there's a Hall of Fame rookie card in football you're looking for, we have it.
I mean, that's a nice collection. That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow.
And, some of the big items, one gentleman just collected 51 Bowman. And he just, I guess he's probably 82 years old now, maybe. We probably have 4 partial sets of 51 Bowmans. A really nicely centered Mickey Mantle 51 Bowman rookie. Some really cool stuff. There's another collector and consigner. The gentleman passed away, but his wife's selling the collection, and he collected signed cards from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, early 70s. So there's near partial sets of tops from the 60s, early 70s signed. So there's a lot of people who try to put sets together of as many cards as possible from, say, 1960, 1959, 1957 tops of every card signed. Rico, there's a bunch of you in some of the lots, too.
Jeez.
But it's
Did you
pretty
sign many
cool.
cards?
There's some obscure ones, We probably have, 4 or 5 Brooks Robinson rookies autographed that,
Wow.
came out graded. The cards graded, I think most of them 4, 5s, and 6s on the card side, let alone the autograph side. So it really is an awesome mix. And And Tom, I think there's a couple nice Rolex watches for you.
I'll take it. I'll take one. Rico, did you sign many cards when you played?
No.
Right? I mean, that wasn't really popular then, right?
No, we weren't. And some cards, some years, they had the printed signature on there. So.
Right.
But
the actual you signing.
we signed a lot
baseballs.
of just paper
And
some
you signed
baseballs,
baseballs?
some baseball. But people, kids, outside the parking lot where they had the gate. And kids, and,
they had their own stuff, gloves or whatever.
They had their own stuff.
Yeah.
So we didn't sign.
All right, so
Rico,
Chuck,
did you get much mail? Because a lot of people, and we learned that with the Uncle Jimmy collection. I mean, he got Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig through the mail because the envelopes were there too.
It's amazing. I have a cousin who's probably, I know, he's in his late 60s, probably around your age, Tom. And he when he was a kid, he literally would send in a letter. Could I get a sign? He's got all these little signed pictures.
I have a friend
of all these guys from the 60s, 70s, whatever. It's amazing the connection that doesn't exist anymore.
Right. Now you're right, because we didn't know, or we didn't think, or maybe they didn't put stuff on eBay. And,
Right.
Did you get much in the mail?
I got some from little kids, Rico pepperoni most of the time. Yeah, so help me God. And
Hey, that's a great marketing idea.
Well,
you should put out a line of pepperoni, Rico pepperoni.
There you go.
Hey.
Yeah, Fergie Jenkins says the cigars. You could be
Right.
Mr. Pepperoni.
Okay, so your website address is?
We are www.wheatlandauctionservices.com.
And the auction, go ahead, I'm sorry.
ends this Sunday. The first lot will close at 7:00 Eastern time, and then each lot subsequently will close 30 seconds after that. So it kind of follows the same format as if you're at a live auction.
Yep.
If any lot does get a bid within 10 minutes of closing, that individual lot will extend the bidding for 10 minutes. So it gives people opportunities to jump all around the auction and bid on things and jump to the back and hopefully be able to get to everything they are hoping.
Quick one before you go. Do you guys have synergy between people coming into your retail store and either, I wouldn't say driving them to the auction, but do they know the auction's going on and the two kind of work hand in hand?
Absolutely. And one of the great stories in this auction is in 2014, Topps Museum, one of their nicer products from Topps, came out. The big hit that you can find in a packet or box of cards was a cut signature of Babe Ruth. And we, back in 2014 at the store, had a customer pull that card.
Wow.
We got it graded.
And I'll say it was the last box that we had on the shelf. Yeah. How long did that box sit? Nobody would buy it. So many people had it on their hands, put it back.
Yep.
Wow.
Finally, someone bought it, and in it was.
And even the person who bought it was walking out the door, didn't buy much in the wax. And he came back in saying, you know what? You talked me into it. It's the last box. I'll take it.
Wow.
And he got the Babe Ruth. We got it graded. The card graded a gem mint on the card.
Oh, wow.
Because it's in a nice frame. The autograph graded a 9 out of 10. We sold it in auction form in 2014. I think got him over $9,000 at the time. He donated all that money to charity. The person who won it in that auction in 2014, I ran into earlier this year, and I talked to him about that card. He's like, you know what? I could use some money. I'm like, why don't you put it up for auction? It's a great time. So we got that card to auction for a second time. And, in business development and engineering world, that I'm still heavily involved in, try to talk to young people all the time it's all about relationships and, you never know what could happen, who could be your client or customer in the future.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good example that this card is coming back, and I think it's already over 11,000.
Good for you.
And many days left here.
That's awesome.
Well, listen, good luck on the auction, and we'll see you guys down the road.
Sounds great.
Good to see both of you.
Chuck and Stacy Whisman from Wheatland Auction.
What a beautiful, two of the best people in this business.
It's a great shop. I've seen pictures of the shop.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's interesting. That's why I asked, because we don't get a lot of people that have both the shop and the auction
it's a
stuff
state of the
working,
art, kind of a state of the art.
Pretty cool.
Anyways, we're going to bring Joe in.
Okay.
Joe Orlando from Heritage Auctions, Executive Vice President, former President of PSA, Collectors Universe, author, bon vivant,
Man About Town, raconteur.
Father of two.
Father of two. Yeah. Two hellions. Mr. Orlando, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Joe.
Good. You forgot star of stage and screen.
Stage and screen. Right.
And also author of Sports Legends. What was the name of that book? The first book you authored? The one behind you.
But I have to look at it. Collecting sports legends.
Collecting sports legends.
It's been a few years.
Yeah, you think that was your first one, right?
Yeah, that was so long ago that I didn't even have Tom Brady's rookie card in the football card.
If you recall the conversation you and I had about that book when we were looking for a good publishing company, you remember what you told me about the publishing company?
I'm scared, by the way. I'm a little nervous about.
No, you weren't overly thrilled with the publishing company. I think that was the guy, or was it the photography? One of you bitched about something. Well, either the photography.
Oh, great. I'm going to avoid that. It is true, Tom, that Wilt Chamberlain is the most dominant basketball player of all time.
That's horrible. That is horrible. All right, Joe. Right out of the gate, we talk about it all the time. You've talked about it with us on many occasions. Rico is a big advocate of the modern and ultra-modern baseball card. I think Mallory is kind of in the middle. I'm a vintage guy. Rico, what do you think?
Joe, the vintage that's the industry, but the modern keeps the industry, the interest going.
That's right.
Let the kids buy these.
Yeah.
Kids.
So what about the kid that spent $5,000 on a PSA 10 Wander Franco card? How's that card doing, Joe?
That's the chance you take. It's like anything.
Joe?
Joe. See. Yeah. Go ahead.
I said, Wilt Chamberlain is a fantastic.
That's it.
What exactly is the question about just modern in general?
Yeah, I'm being facetious. And
I think there's a point. And let me get to the question. These two guys can go like the two guys in the Muppet Show up in the balcony. I think I think Rico made a fine point, which let's mark this date down, in that he's saying the vintage, it's always going to be there. And that's what he said. That's the industry. But there is something to be said for new collectors, young collectors coming in, regardless of what they're buying, because Rico's right. That keeps the business going. I think that's what they were saying, Joe. Get your thoughts on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
exactly what it was saying.
Anyone who was at the National saw unprecedented numbers of young people, all over the floor. At the hotel late at night, trading literally on the floor.
I know, that was amazing.
Right?
Yeah, that was amazing.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's hard to be, sort of negative or upset at so many young people. And we want young people. We want new generations introduced to the hobby. And they have to start somewhere. Look, I mean, where did we all start as collectors when we were younger? We bought modern cards, modern at the time.
You start with what you know. With what you know.
Right. I mean, these are the players you can follow on TV and go to the ball games. And so that is extremely positive sign. And like I said, it is kind of amazing too. I mean, all joking aside, I know Tom was making some jokes there. Look, the modern market over the past year has shown some significant decline in certain areas. I mean, that's not a secret. I think anyone who follows the hobby knows that. But to me, what was so encouraging is that it was record-breaking traffic at the National even after that happened. And what that tells me is that there is real interest here, long-term interest, not just a short-term type interest. And that was a concern kind of going into the last few years where things accelerated so quickly. But I thought that was probably the most exciting part of it, that the attendance was record-breaking, even in the face of a modern market which has shown some serious volatility in the last
So,
year.
Joe, let me ask you, when the baby boomer generation and the generation behind that, what is that, Gen X? I don't even know what
Gen
that
X.
Gen X. As they get older and they fade out of the picture, is the vintage market going to decline? I'm talking about the old vintage market, the cards from the pre-war 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Is that market going to decline as the baby boomers and Gen X's fade into the sunset?
Let me answer that in two ways. First of all, I think in short, I don't believe so, because as Rico was pointing out, I mean, that's the blue chip beachfront property type material that everyone sort of graduates to over time. And look, I never saw Mickey Mantle play. I never saw Babe Ruth play, but I sure want to collect their items. So I guess technically I'm Gen X. So I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, and I love watching the current players at that time play, but I also kind of fell in love with the history of sport. And so I don't think that cycle changes. A young person today is also, again, it's very typical. They start with modern material because that's what they can watch, that's what they can afford. And then as they get older, if they're still involved in the hobby, they end up graduating to more vintage material. That being said, I would say that I do anticipate changes as it relates to players who are not the icons of the game. So, for example, you mentioned the baby boomers, right? You may have people from the baby boomer generation who are hardcore collectors that not only collect, the big names, the Mantles and the Yogi Berras, but they also collect the Elston Howards and the Hank Bowers and the Bobby Richardsons, because they fell in love with those teams as well. And so when you get kind of past the top, tier of Hall of Famers, iconic stars, that sort of thing, and you get into the other type of players, over time, it'll be interesting to see how they perform versus the rest. I mean, we've talked about this many times before. I mean, if you're looking forward strictly from a financial aspect or perspective, it's always a safer bet to go with the guys that have statues outside the stadium. I mean, those are the names that will echo in eternity, forever.
We are chatting with Joe Orlando, Executive Vice President of Heritage Auctions.
Smartest guy in the room, by
He
the
really
way.
is.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Platinum Night. Platinum Night is coming up. There is some amazing, Joe, I looked at the catalog. Wow. Hang in there.
We have to win the lottery.
We'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Are you a collector looking for that rare trading card or autographed ball or photo? If so, then PB Collectables in Newport is the place for you. PB Collectables has graded cards, raw cards, complete sets, and wax boxes of the stars of the future, today, and from the past. We also offer a large selection of both vintage and modern cards. So whether you're looking to add to your collection or sell it, visit us at PB Collectables, 269 Spring Street in Newport, located across from St. Mary's Church. We are your neighborhood card shop and much more.
Your questions answered. On deck with Rico Patricelli.
Hello, everybody.
Whenever you're ready,
What
Rico.
the hell is wrong with you?
I was
I
talking
think
to
it's time
Chris.
for my segment. I need to talk to Chrissy real quick.
Yeah, wait a second.
What was your question, Rico? Let's do on deck with
you
Chrissy.
got,
and then
you
we'll
got
go.
orange, you got pink
do.
hair, you got pink and black. She's a beautiful woman, by the way. And you got orange thingies here, and you
I do. They're nails.
color.
They're called
And the nails, yeah.
Fingernails.
Orange?
Yeah.
Why? Why don't you have pink?
Because I have pink hair.
Huh?
It's not all. It's not all pink.
And by the way,
Well, why don't you have pink fingernails? You got
Because
pink
I already
hair.
got pink hair.
Oh,
And by the way,
It's all about contrast.
you know, have you guys been, you know about Tristan Casas, right? Tristan Casas, who's going to be a very good ball player. He paints.
Maybe.
oh,
he's-
wait a
he's
You
second.
said that
The
about
first baseman?
Yeah, he's going to be
You
good.
said that about Bobby Dahlbeck a year and a half ago.
Let me tell you
Where
something.
is
He's
it?
going to be a good player.
Okay. All
wanna
right.
bet?
Whatever.
Do you know that
New Britain.
he paints his fingernails and toenails every day,
Good for him.
different colors?
That's great. Maybe he should more focus on the curveball.
Okay.
Anyway, back to number one on the roster, number one
Hi.
in our hearts. It's on deck with Rico Petroselli.
And by the way, Rico is brought to us.
I should just do that every week.
I know, really. Rico is brought to us by our good friend Brian Dwyer and the great staff at REA Auctions. Don't forget to get your bid in by going to robertedwardauctions.com. And that's Robert Edward. He's a great kid.
Yeah,
he really
is.
is.
He is.
All right, this week's question was submitted by one Mr. John Mallory.
Get out of here.
And not only one, but there's
Longtime
three
viewer
questions.
of the
That's a tough
show.
question.
And
then.
Joe,
Holy
I
gee.
want you to jump in anytime you want to ask Rico. All right,
No,
what's
he
question
doesn't
number
wanna
one?
Jump in. Leave
All
him.
right.
Wait a minute.
Who reads it? Me?
Yeah.
Do I read it?
Yeah, what is it?
All right. Question number one. You okay?
Yeah, no, I got the thing stuck here.
To all of our viewers, I apologize.
Joe, do you understand? I mean, you're witnessing firsthand.
Joe, how you doing?
Sometimes I forget I'm even on the show. I feel
Joe,
like this is
have you actually realized, Joe, there actually is no show.
Oh, you mean recording
It's a
this?
sitcom.
Okay.
All right, what do you got for
Well,
questions?
yeah.
All right,
What's
question
the-
number one.
Okay.
Rico, you
Yeah,
ready?
Sure.
What was the best, when you played, what was the best road city to visit for bars and nightlife? See, this is my question.
Well,
What was the
wouldn't
best?
know.
What were the best places to go when the guys
I
would go
wouldn't-
out after
I
the
wouldn't
game?
know. I tell you,
You
the truth.
wouldn't know. Stop.
What was your favorite?
We'd have a beer, go out with Yaz, and then when Tony was playing, we'd go. Anaheim was one of the real nice places.
Going
to go.
out there? Yeah.
Yeah, and let's see, let's go Kansas City. But you know, a lot of the places were closed after night games.
That's true, right?
Yeah, not
They
all,
shut
but
down.
they shut
So
down.
Well, how about like the bigger cities like
Yeah.
Chicago?
Well,
New
New
York?
New York, I stayed with my mother and
You were
father.
from there, right,
Yeah. So, what else? Baltimore, nothing.
No.
Nah, you had to stay inside.
Yeah.
Cleveland and Detroit, forget it. But
All right, so Anaheim was your favorite.
yeah, Anaheim was.
Anaheim.
Oh, you know where it was nice? Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
I played the first couple.
What
of
about
years with
Chicago?
them. That was my town. Thank you. Chicago was my town. I loved
Are you
Chicago.
Frank
going to
Sinatra? That's your
Chicago.
town?
Yeah, no,
your
that's
kind of
right.
town.
He used to go to the jazz clubs and blues
Yeah,
clubs.
yeah.
Oh, sweet.
And we saw all the top names, and then they
Did
also.
you guys get recognized when you were in places?
Well, what do you mean in the road?
Like if you were out at a
No,
bar or something, after,
no.
did any fans come up to you?
No,
then?
no.
Yeah.
You know, wearing a uniform on when you're out at a game in,
Yeah.
in these
Right.
places, it really didn't wasn't much attention.
All right, question number 2.
All right, question number 2 is, you can name one or two, whatever. Who were a couple or one of the nastiest pitchers you ever faced? Doesn't necessarily have to be the best pitcher you ever faced, but like a real nasty pitcher that maybe struck a little fear in batters' hearts.
Well, of course, Nolan Ryan was, because he didn't sometimes know where the ball was going, but most of the time he did. But he couldn't hit me because I was about 15 feet away from home plate. Stay right there. He's a great pitcher. There was, what's his name? Minnesota.
Jim Cott?
No.
Dean Chance?
Dean Chance.
Chance.
Very good, Tom.
There were other guys who would. Stan Williams. Stan Williams.
The guy who eventually became the pitching coach?
Yeah.
For the Reds? All right.
Yeah, Stan Williams. You get a hit off him, next time in the back.
Really?
And he's the guy that he had in his contract that if he got less than a certain amount of walks, that he would get a bonus. So if he was 3-0 on the guy, he'd hit him.
That wasn't considered a walk.
No, he hit the batsman, so he made the money. Stan was tough. Boy,
that's funny.
I hit a home run off him one night. Next time I faced him, boy.
He drilled
you.
Wow, right at and he smiled. He was 6'6". I mean, like
big
this.
guy. Yeah.
Oh, I said, okay, Stan.
And he ended up being one of the coaches.
He was coach. Yeah, coached with us, and
Yeah.
and he turned. Was a good guy, but he says, hey, and the umpires in those days, they didn't. All right, that's enough. You know what they do? Go brush off the plate. Okay,
That's
next.
right. Yeah.
All right, question 3.
Go ahead.
All right, last question.
Oh.
Who were or was the smartest manager you ever played for, and a couple of the smartest managers you ever played against? Like, you just knew the game.
Smartest,
Smart.
not
best or winningest.
Earl Weaver was one of them.
Yep.
Of course, he had great players, but he knew how to handle them.
Yeah.
Billy Martin.
Yeah.
Martin was a great on-the-field manager. He was terrific. And these guys thought innings ahead. And Dick Williams.
Yeah.
Dick was really good. And there were some others that, weren't as popular.
Right.
But those guys could not manage today. Forget it. They were disciplinarians. I mean,
Right.
They sit you down. But, they were very smart.
Three good questions, Jam.
Yeah.
Three good
A
questions.
guy like Weaver doesn't get credit because he was such a personality getting tossed.
Yeah.
He was a smart baseball man.
very smart.
He knew the game inside out.
All right, let's get back to Mr. Orlando. Joe, Platinum Night, man. You've got some stuff. First of all, tell us about the Sports Illustrated.
Oh, yeah, there's this gigantic, by the way, there's so many lots in this auction. There's so many different elite items in different categories. It's hard. Sometimes, I'll be talking with the crew at Heritage and we go, oh, gee, I forgot that was even in here. That's how deep this thing goes. But yeah, there's a massive collection of Sports Illustrated. It's actually just pulled it up. It's currently at 140,000, but it's 1954 to 2023. Wow. 2,154 original autographs, and it's over 4,000 total issues in a complete run. For someone who just wants to, if it's sort of move-in ready for someone just wants to take a complete run of Sports Illustrateds with literally a couple of thousand original autographs.
I mean, think about that. Think about how many Ali autographs there are. How many covers had Ali on it?
Tons.
Right?
I think he and Jordan, I think, are 1-2, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. So there must be like a ton of Jordan and Ali autographs.
And so these are all autographed covers, Joe?
They're not all, but a lot of them are.
Okay.
There's a total of, I think, 4,000 and change in terms of individual covers, and there's about half of there's about 2,000, a little over 2,000 autographs of the 4,000 covers. So
that's unbelievable.
It's remarkable. It's a great piece of history. Obviously, we're in a different sort of time today where magazines aren't as sort of prominent and out there. I mean, people, you ask a young person what a magazine is, and they go, "What's a magazine?" Right? So it is in a way, covers, magazine covers, that sort of thing. It's kind of like tickets. It's someday it may be complete nostalgia. Who knows? Where we don't, everything is digital, but it's an incredible amassment. And this is what collecting is all about. The time and effort it took to put this together How do you quantify what that's worth? We're going to find out this weekend because the auction closes on the 19th and 20th this upcoming weekend. And yeah, this is one of many, many, many incredible pieces and lots.
What are some of the other items, Joe? Do you have anything in front of you?
Yeah, the one thing I can't avoid talking about this because it's so cool and so rare is the mantle jersey, which I'm sure you had a chance to see at the National. We had it on display with a lot of other items. When you're looking at game used, game worn, memorabilia, you kind of check to see if that item checks many boxes, right? So this is a 1958 Mickey Mantle home pinstripe, all original jersey with the exception of one button replacement. That's it. But this was not a jersey that went back down to the minor leagues, which was a common practice in those days where they would remove patches and reuse them. This was taken off of Mantle's back at some point, and it escaped that transition to the minor league. So the state of preservation is amazing. But 1958 is a really important time frame for Mantle. 1956 and 57, he was back-to-back MVPs. 56, of course, a Triple Crown winner. 62 was his third MVP. So this is really in the heart of his prime. I mean, if you're considering, what happened in his career and later in his career, of course, the injuries started to take their toll by the mid 1960s. This is a prime Mantle, a World Series championship year, a year that they avenged their loss the previous season,
right,
against Milwaukee, and Hank Aaron, Eddie Matthews, Warren Spahn, and those guys. So this jersey, when it comes to, again, the sort of era it was used in, and then the state of preservation and the rarity of it, I challenge, look, don't take my word for it. Go back a quarter century, 25 years, and look at every auction history or archive you can find. See how many all-original Mickey Mantle home pinstripe jerseys you can find, period, let alone one from the 50s, let alone one from the prime of his career. And it's already up to just under $4 million with a week to go, roughly a week to go.
Joe, this is really
a record. It's already set a record for a Mickey Mantle game uniform. And it's, by the way, forgot to mention this, it's also photo matched to several different points of the season and post and after the season. So it's photo matched to opening day of 1958. It's photo matched to some other games during the year. It is also photo matched, believe it or not, till after the season. Do you remember the old show, Home Run Derby?
Sure.
So actually, he wore the jersey in the Home Run Derby episodes.
No
after
way.
the season ended. So it's really just a remarkable piece of history.
Are you kidding me?
Again, if this is on your list, if you desire to own an all original home Mickey Mantle jersey, the scary thing is it can be another 10 or 20 years before one comes up of the caliber that you're seeking. And that's why, again, it has already set a record for a Mantle shirt. But that is, I would say of all the incredible pieces in this auction, that has to be the coolest.
This is like a quintessential item of something we've been talking about on the show, which is I think there's been a movement, and I'd like to get your opinion on this, Joe, in terms of trends, toward these items that were worn by the player, were held by the player, the bat, the signed whatever, something that the player had in his possession, gloves. Can you just comment on that a little bit? Because to me, this is sort of the ultimate item in that vein that we've discussed, as opposed to just a card or something like that, something the player, touched and felt and had in their hands.
Yeah, no, it's a great subject. And, I find myself talking about it quite a bit with fellow hobbyists. Look, the reason that cards have accelerated so far away from everything else is because that market has matured more quickly. There's more information about card collecting than anything else. And there's a sort of wonderful simplicity to card collecting. They're part of a set. They're graded 1 to 10. It's sort of easy to get your mind wrapped around every card. So let's take a 1958 Topps Mickey Mantle card. The only thing separating one Mickey Mantle from another is condition. That's the only thing to think about. And that is done by third-party services. When it comes to memorabilia, there's a lot more thought that needs to go into it on behalf of the buyer, because not all bats are the same. Not all jerseys are the same, even if they're used in the same season. They're all different. They're all sort of one of ones, if you will. But what's happened over the past, 3, 5, 7 years is that now this material is starting to close the gap. Now, what's remarkable is that here I am talking about the fact that this jersey has already set a record at just a shade under 4 million, and it's not even a third of the way there to the $12.6 million figure that we garnered for a 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle 1 year ago in our platinum sale.
Right.
So you can see there's still a ways to go, but as more and more people are feeling comfortable, and I had mentioned the photo matching earlier, photo matching is helping buyers gain a much higher degree of comfort in terms of paying a premium. So having the authentication in addition to the photo matching is starting to bring game-worn and game-used items to an entirely new level.
The photo matching, you mean that there are photos of him in that uniform that you could, match? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Pretty much, right?
And
okay,
key,
different photos.
Exactly. And the key with the home pinstripe, Yankee uniforms is that the pinstripes act as a fingerprint. So no two are exactly the same. So they're able, if the resolution on the images is clear enough, if it's a clear enough shot, they can line up all of those pinstripes and basically match and confirm that jersey was worn on that particular day. And look, when it comes to game-used, game-worn items, having the ability to pinpoint it at a certain moment in time can be huge. In this case, it's 58, and it's, again, opening day. He's there receiving his MVP award on opening day from 57, the 57 MVP award on opening day in 58, and he's wearing the jersey. It's just a really cool piece. And again, to your point, Rico, matching is literally taking the object and finding images where you could line them up and confirm that is the exact item that we're talking about.
Joe, let's stay on that point for a minute. Excuse me, that Rico just brought up. Do you guys go out to third-party photo matching companies, or do you have an in-house, you do it in-house and have people that are experts doing it?
We do both. So we definitely are huge supporters of third-party, grading with cards, autograph authentication, bat authentication. You've had John on many times. So it's no different with jerseys, and we do take it to the next level by working with, there are a few different services out there, photo matching services that we utilize, but we also screen the items ourselves. So it's a combination of going out, getting that third-party photo matching done, and reviewing the items in-house as well.
We talk about Platinum Night. How many items approximately? How many items in the auction?
I think there's don't put me on the spot here. I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think it's 1,500 to 1,700, something like that. But there's a lot. But the key with Platinum is this is, of all the heritage auction platforms that we have throughout the year, because we're running literally auctions every week and every month. The two Platinums that we do, one in August and one in February, these are the auctions that kind of have the greatest cachet, if you will. So in terms of pound for pound power, I mean, there are so many 6-figure and also 7-figure items like the Mantle jersey, like the Mantle card. There are other cards that may get there as well. So it's just, in terms of just pound for pound value, there's just a tremendous selection of material and really elite items in every category you can think of.
Joe, what were your thoughts on the National? I mean, we saw you quite a bit. What was the traffic light at the Heritage exhibit, number one, and what were your overall thoughts of the National?
No, look, like I said, as an exhibitor there, who could complain with the traffic? I will complain about the air conditioning, but that's the first 3 days. I think I sweat right through my clothes. That was pretty awful. But what are you going to do? Other than that, it was a really incredible show, and the traffic was tremendous. I mean, just being a part of Heritage, and just you guys know, you've seen it year to year. I mean, the team puts on a museum quality display. And watching kind of the oohs and ahs, from collectors as they walk around the booth and they preview it. In this case, we were previewing many of the items that we have in the current Platinum sale. It's just a lot of fun, and you get to engage with collectors and answer questions about different items. It was terrific. Now, as far as the show itself, we talked a little bit about it earlier. The traffic was unbelievable. The amount of young people was really unbelievable. The only thing I would say that if there's any concern whatsoever, and it's a minor concern, but it is a concern, is that I did notice that there was at least some sort of marketing effort towards the younger crowd that was more focused on make money now, more
I agree with you.
That I didn't love, and that's because to me it's like, look, one of the things that is so awesome about this industry and hobby is that it can persevere through just about anything because there's an emotional connection to doing it. People love to collect, and that connection doesn't go away no matter what's going on in the world around us. And if it's just about making money, if that's the only motivation, that's not a sustainable business
model. I totally agree with you.
There was some percentage, I would say, of folks that were there, young kids that were there, that I wonder if they're in it for the
love of the hobby
reasons, but you know what I'm talking about. So
not going to enjoy it. They're not going to enjoy it.
Exactly. All right, listen, before we take a quick break, Joe, one thing I have to thank you for. It was the greatest recommendation you have ever made to me. My top 3 dishes of all time, the Chilean sea bass was a killer. It was a killer. I'm not kidding. It's in my top 3 dishes of all time, and I've eaten a lot of food. Phenomenal recommendation. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Big Al's going to be joining us. Joe's going to stick with us. Al Crisifulli from Love of the Game Auctions. The Chilean sea bass was phenomenal.
Chilean sea bass.
It was unbelievable.
Wow.
Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Nice.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden Auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Petroselli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petroselli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
Folks, that was my son. He's got to take care of his father.
Al, he is unbelievable.
You know what I was thinking you guys need? You guys should have like a sales force out there trying to sell commercials. You probably some people.
We are turning people away. I'm telling you, there's a waiting list. Go ahead.
Like NASCAR.
You probably don't know. You probably know it's my son. You know, it's
Pepperoni marketing.
Yeah. Imprinted products keeps your brand. I'm trying to tell you, your friend in front of your customers more than any other form of advertising. That's a fact. That's a fact.
It is a fact.
For the best on-time service and new ideas for your next project, get Petroselli Marketing Group.
Ask for Rico.
Call at 800.
Whatever you do not ask for Rico.
264-800-264-4294. Or go to their website, petrosellimkt.com. My granddaughter answers.
Joe and Al, this is the God's honest truth. The only time Rico steps into that place is to grab something for free, whether it be a hat or a parka or some kind of.
I haven't even gotten a freaking pen yet. I don't even have a pen.
It's the only time he goes in there to grab something for nothing.
You know,
how about a collapsible drinking cup or something for your boy here?
All right. We have the Italian. We have both the Italian connections.
Should we do that? We need to do that.
In a few minutes.
Yeah, good.
Al Crisifulli.
In a few minutes.
Al Crisifulli from Love of the Game Auctions. You guys know each other. Al, you've got an auction ending this coming weekend. Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
He's starting to sing.
Well, it's doing pretty well. It's our summer auction. Very excited about this one. Lots of, it's a typical Love of the Game auction. It's filled with stuff that you don't see every day. A lot of 19th century material in this one, and a pretty good dose of memorabilia. A lot of sport cards and things like that. I think my favorite piece in it is probably the war chest, the 1917. It's a trunk.
Yeah.
That it was part of the Clark Griffith held a big national fundraiser during the war to raise money to have athletic equipment sent over to American troops that were serving in Europe. And what we have is one of the what they called war chests. The Knights of Columbus filled these things up with athletic equipment and sent them out into these into the locations where the American troops were. So this one's got 9 bats and 3 chest protectors and 3 catcher's masks, and it's really, really neat. And we've decided to keep the whole thing together in hopes that a collector will buy it and keep it together, because it's been together for 100 years. But there's 2 Ty Cobb bats in there. There's an Eddie Collins bat. It's really
nice.
Very cool.
He
Very
probably
cool.
stole them from the players and put them in there. He was so
really.
cheap. He was cheap.
I know.
And his son was cheap.
They're probably gamers that you don't even realize because he
right.
stole
Right.
them. Exactly, right?
That's nice. That's
You
a
got
nice
some other
bat.
stuff in there, Al. I mean, it's a great auction. I've gone through it several times.
He's got some great Jackie Robinson, Gary Cobb. I mean, all the big names Al represent, and all different card companies. Throughout history, it's like you said, it's a great typical, and I mean that in terms of being great, love of the game auction. Some stuff you're not going to see anywhere else.
We talk about this a lot. This is a good example. Both of you guys, both Joe and Al. Joe's got the platinum auction coming up.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff in that auction.
Unbelievable. And then, Al, you have your auction, and the spectrum is amazing because you guys both are appealing to just about every hobbyist in the world that collects. I mean, you got it all.
I think Heritage is particularly good at pre-war material. It's a lot of the auction companies in this big run up in this post-pandemic craze have really kind of started to focus on post-war vintage and also modern. And Heritage does that stuff, and they can because they're so big. But I also think that they also have a kind of a talent in that pre-war arena, which is kind of neat because I like to buy stuff. So I can buy stuff in my own auction.
Do both of you get new people, for instance, in each auction? A lot of new people, or a small amount of new people? Both Al and Joe. Either one of you, or both, if you.
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, look, that's our job, right, Rico? Like, throughout the year, our job is to keep building our database of both bidders and consigners. So, the National was a great opportunity to get FaceTime with people, but throughout the rest of the year, there are some smaller shows throughout the year, but much of it is done online, much of it is done on the phone. But yeah, I mean, by the way, I was busy scrolling through Al's auction right now and noticing some pretty cool stuff myself. But I have to mention this. It's kind of cool. Al there's a Ty Cobb photo in there, a Type 1 photo. That photo was actually used to photo match bat that sold for a record price for a Ty Cobb bat. It was actually one of 2 images that was used to photo match this incredible bat that we actually sold last year. So there's some really cool stuff in there. But anyway, I'm just like everyone else. I have the collecting bug. I'm getting distracted looking at this cool. But yeah, I mean, throughout the course of the year, that our job is to build relationships and introduce new people to this hobby. And as you guys have aptly pointed out, the cool thing about this hobby, which Al and I, of course, both love, is that there's something for everybody. Whatever budget you're on, there's something for everyone to collect, and that's what makes it great.
Yeah. JM, tell us about our good friends at the Philly Show.
You got it, Zap. East Coast Sports Marketing and Hunt Auctions are pleased to present the Philadelphia Sports Collectors Show, the Philly Show, from Friday, September 22nd to Sunday, September 24th, held at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, Hall B, 100 Station Ave, Oaks, PA 19456. Shop over 300 of your favorite hobby dealer booths on over 100,000 square feet of sports collectibles heaven from the 1800s to present day. Major sports auction houses and third-party grading and authentication companies are on hand to assist your collecting needs. The Philly Show is always family-friendly, and all kids 12 and under get in for free. Autograph guests to include Pete, the Hit King Rose. Baseball Hall of Famers Jim Thome and Pedro Martinez, and 2023 inductee Scott Rowland. Basketball legends Dr. J, Julius Erving, and Allen Iverson, and many, many more. For more information, go to phillyshow.com. Remember, since 1975, the Philly Show is Where it all started.
And keep in mind that Joe Drellick, who is running the Philly show, also now runs with his two other partners, the National. So
yep,
they do a great job. Great job. Al, you did a great job coming onto the stage fashionably late.
Fashionably, right at the end.
But you did great.
Just made it.
Did you see it, by the way? Have you seen it?
I did. All of your other guests were very intelligent.
Well, it's good to have a mix.
You did.
I know. I feel good. I feel a niche.
All right. So your auction ends when, Al?
Saturday the 19th, and there's still plenty of time to register and get your bids in. That Oscar Charleston rookie card is a little bit low right now.
Keep going.
Keep going. Is a little bit low.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
There's not a lot of things that are low, but that Charleston rookie card is all upside. That's
Did I ever tell you that Chief Myers was the he caught for Christy Mathewson? Did I ever tell you that?
Did I mention that we had a Chief Myers single sign baseball?
You did not.
Very good.
Chief Myers.
I am begging the general public. That's my ball. I'm putting it in. I'm begging you to bid on it. I'm begging you to bid. Is that fair enough? Is that fair enough?
Sure. Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's a good ball. I'm only teasing.
It is a good ball. It's something you don't see very often.
Right.
That's it.
Joe, Platinum ends when?
19th and 20th. It's split into those 2 days.
All right, listen, you guys
Great seeing you both.
You
man.
both know what you mean to
fantastic
us.
guys, yeah.
You guys are both like at the top tier. Yep. The two of you and Derek, right at the top tier for us.
Why'd you have to bring Derek?
That's kind of you. I'm not in the same league as those guys, but that's nice of you.
All right, guys, we love you. To our viewers and audience, please don't forget to follow us on the Great American Collectibles Show, Tom Zappler Media, Tom Zappler Facebook page, Sports Collectors Daily. We are going to be, in the next couple of weeks, we got another announcement that we're going to be on another major platform, YouTube, all that other good stuff. I don't have to go through that.
Fun to be here with both you guys.
Yeah, actually, we don't see each other very much.
Well, about time we got some talent.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
With that being said,
this weekend, Joe.
See you guys.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
And to our viewers
Good,
and
guys.
listening, happy collecting.